Have you ever fainted while listening to music? I'm not talking about passing out when Satan tells you that Paul is dead. Who is Paul? And why does Satan care if he's dead or alive, backwards or forwards? Why are people listening to music backwards, and why are they fainting as a result of it? Now I'm feeling faint. Recording secret messages that can only be heard when a song is played backwards is a technique known as backmasking. It was popular and much easier to do when music was recorded on vinyl records and played on turntables, which could be spun backwards by people like TV evangelist Paul Crouch, who tried to knock rock music by claiming he heard Satan speaking backwards during the Led Zeppelin song Stairway to Heaven. That's not the Paul who's dead. That Paul is Paul McCartney, who's not dead. However, he and the rest of his band, the Beatles, were often suspected of hiding backwards messages in their songs. Not that they needed to, because even when played forward, people fainted at both the sound and sight of them. By people, I mean mostly young women. This female fan fainting frenzy was so frequent, the phenomenon was given a name, Beatlemania, which sounds original but was actually derived from another female fan fainting frenzy phenomenon about a fellow named Franz. The Franz it referred to is 19th century Hungarian composer and piano virtuoso Franz Liszt, and the phenomenon was called Lisztomania. Liszt was born in 1811 and began receiving piano lessons at age 7 from his father, Adam Liszt, who was friends with composer Ludwig van Beethoven, who didn't cause any fainting but did inspire a song by the Beatles. Don't bother playing it backwards, no messages are expected. By the age of 11, Liszt was composing his own songs and performing them in concert. In 1839, he began an 8-year concert tour of Europe, where critics and fans alike began recognizing his talent and calling him one of the greatest pianists of all time. And that's when the hysteria started. Liszt arrived in Berlin in 1841 around Christmas, and before his first concert, fans stood outside his window and serenaded him with one of his own songs. The enthusiastic crowd at his first concert a few days later showed the beginnings of the behavior of what would eventually spread across Europe and be given the name Lisztomania by writer Heinrich Heine. Female fans were known to faint as soon as they saw Franz. They attended his concerts wearing his picture on pins and necklaces. They pushed to get closer to him so they could touch him, grab his handkerchiefs, and get locks of his hair. When Liszt broke a piano string, they'd fight over it so they could make it into a bracelet. Women followed him into coffee shops and used vials to collect his leftover brew. Ew. One fan reportedly picked up his used cigar butt from a gutter and wore it in a locket engraved with his initials in diamonds. She didn't even care that it made her smell like an old cigar. Ew! No one could explain the cause of Lisztomania. Some blamed it on the combined fumes of burning candles and women's perfumes. Others thought it was a free-spirited response to the repressive governments in Europe at the time. There were even theories about magnetism, sorcery, and musical Spanish flies. Isn't that the cause of beaver fever? Whatever the cause, Liszt eventually grew tired of all that fan hysteria and of the traveling musician's life in general, and in 1853 joined a Franciscan religious order. At a monastery outside Rome, he received the orders of porter, lector, acolyte, and exorcist. It was there that a cardinal gave him the tonsure, that odd monk's bowl haircut with bangs all around and a shaved spot on top. Kind of like a bald Paul McCartney. Liszt played the piano occasionally while in the monastery, but never again experienced the phenomenon of Lisztomania. While Elvis Presley was known to get fans excited with his swiveling hips, no musician since Liszt caused hysteria worthy of such a name until Beatlemania. Rumor has it, if you play his song Grand Galop Chromatique backwards, you can hear Franz himself say, "Paul is cool." It must be faint.